The Federal High Court in Abuja on Monday ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to remove the name of Uche Nwosu as a governorship candidate in the last election held in Imo State. Justice Ezewuike voided Nwosu's candidacy on the grounds of double nomination by two political parties, the All Progressive Congress and the Action Alliance, in violation of Section 37 of the Electoral Act. I still have one of my guests with me, and that is Babashola Adigbuyi, political analyst. Thanks for staying with us.
Yeah, I'm good.
What do you make of this nullification and then, the double candidature?
Well, there is a need for us to go back to the history of what happened, how they came about, joining APC, running on APC, getting a ticket. Uche Nwosu was part of APC. And if you remember very well, there was a primary election that was conducted for Uche Nwosu and Hope Uzodinma. And after that primary election, there was a confusion that made the National Executive Council to cancel that particular primary election and ordered for a rerun, which later eventually produced Uche Nwosu as the authentic winner of the APC ticket. But afterwards, what happened? It was not recognized by the APC. Someone else actually, Uzodinma, actually appeared on the ballot paper, on the names submitted to INEC. And when they discovered the time was going fast, for the deadline for submission of names and substitution of names was getting approaching fast, then Uche Nwosu now left APC to join AA, and he ran on that particular platform. He also went to court to swear affidavit in order to stand against, to swear affidavit in order to stand against Hope Uzodinma being the authentic winner. As at the time he did the affidavit, he recognized himself as a member of APC. As a member of APC. When he now joined the AA, he did not go back to do a counter affidavit that is no longer with APC. That means no longer interested in the litigation against APC and the candidate of APC. Now it ran on AA. Someone now took that and said, Mr. Man, you presently, legally, you are a member of APC. Now you are a member of AA. So this contradicts the Electoral Act of Section 37. So therefore, you cannot hold the two at the same time. It's either you leave one and go for one, or you leave the two. And the court has finally decided today, the Federal High Court. I believe they want to take the next step by going to the Court of Appeal, if there is a need for it.
Okay, before I go to the next question, there's something you said now that made me think about advisors. Before you come up to run for any elective position, you would have, a backlog of people that will be helping you through the process. So is it that his legal team failed to advise him appropriately?
Well, I want to believe so, that they failed to advise him appropriately. And at the same time, we also have this mentality of we are the one in government, anything can happen as long as we are still in power. Because at that time he was running, he believed that, well, I would win the election. So by the time we win the election, we will settle everything. It's just an assumption from my hand. Maybe you would settle everything. After we win the election, we settle everything. Nobody will stand against us, and that is it. So I would not rule out the fact that it was not advised. Yes.
There's a possibility of that. At the same time, there's always the other options. Okay, now we have a case before the tribunal. He's gone to court to challenge the victory of the governor that we have now from the PDP, Hedioha. And he is saying that he is the winner. So what happens to this case now? Will the tribunal continue to adjudicate on a matter that has been decided upon by a court?
Well, we should not forget that the case at the tribunal is not actually between him and Emeka Eldua.
Okay.
You get, it's between AA and PDP.
Okay.
Yes, it could be the second plaintiff, and the sitting governor could be the second defendant.
But he is you have acknowledged that he is the candidate of the AA. So even if they are going to court under whatever guise, they are still going to court to authenticate his election. He was the one that they presented as the candidate. He
was the one that they presented as a candidate. But in every election, it is always a case of the party and not the candidates.
Okay.
Because if he's no longer there, he still has a running mate. And they have other people that actually ran with him. If there was any during the primary election, that they could easily give that particular position to, if tribunal declares AA as the winner.
Okay, while laying claim to the APC governorship ticket amid stiff opposition, like you mentioned earlier, he obtained a court order, the same one that you talked about from the High Court. The judge in that case is now deceased. They recognized him as the valid candidate. In the midst of this, he also got the one for the AA. Shouldn't the court bear some responsibility here? Because they should have, you highlighted some of the facts earlier when you were trying to analyze how we came to that position. Shouldn't the court be better aware and maybe educate a little better? Don't they have any responsibility here?
On this case, yeah. I will say they don't, and I will explain. The case that was taken to the deceased judge was a matter of him being the authentic candidate of AA, and not him flying or having two tickets. There are two different cases entirely. Yeah. The person that took into the case that this man is not an authentic candidate. He just came in from nowhere to collect our ticket and is now flying on that. And the judge will say, okay, from everything, evidence before me, I hereby say this man is an authentic candidate. But in a situation whereby someone now went to court and has the court to declare him null and void for having APC ticket and AA ticket at the same time. So the judge will have to sit down and say, oh, just like the judgment today, the judge has already given the judgment that, Mr. Man, from the affidavit before us, you declared yourself as a candidate of APC. And also, on the high neck distance, we have your name as a candidate of AA. So you can't be one candidate for the two parties. There was no record anywhere that there was an alliance between the two parties. So I will not blame the court.
Solely. Okay, now that we have this situation, there's a judgment against him. Do you see him appealing, and what are the likelihood that this verdict might be overturned?
Well, it can appeal. Every judgment, you can appeal any judgment. But I'm very sure that one of the reasons why you want to appeal is because of the tribunal. Then another reason why you want to appeal is because of the name, of his own name, his own fame. Because once if it stands by this judgment of a federal high court, then it will no longer be recognized as a candidate. You get my point? So now it will go to the court of appeal. There is high possibility the court of appeal will withhold the federal high court judgment, or the court of appeal will look at it from the other angle and say, based on the technical evidence, you are now the candidate. Then you will go back to the tribunal. But as long as the federal high court has given that judgment, tomorrow you can get an injunction, and once it gets an injunction, that man can still continue with the tribunal.
All right, let's look at it from the party angle now. The parties you mentioned earlier are the ones that are always it's about the party, not really the candidates, right? Then shouldn't they have better advice, legal advice, so that, because it seems like after every process, we always have this litigation upon litigation upon litigation. Shouldn't they have better legal team that will follow them every step of the way so that, issues like this would not come up?
Well, they all have good legal teams. We should not forget lawyers always look at cases from different angles. They have different perceptions to different things. And sometimes that perception could be their own selfish interest, and it could be as the interest of the party, depending on the lawyer. The lawyer can defend and tell you this white paper here is black, and you look at it, there is possible that it's black.
You trust our lawyer, of course.
You get, it's possible. And the lawyer can say, okay, if I call this thing black and people see that it's not black, it's actually white, you will look at it, you will know how to put it down. Sometimes people need to equip themselves with the law of the land. Don't always rely on lawyers. There are sometimes, because lawyers know that you are ignorant of what the law says, they will now come out and give you one because they want to defend you. And once they defend you, they want to get money from you. I will not blame them. It is their job they are doing. It is their business. You guys, it now depends on you to say, I want to forge ahead or not. They could have given them right advice, pieces of advice, or not. It all depends on what happened in the political party.
Okay, as a concluding thought, do you see the tribunal coming up with any ruling after all of this that will offset the current PDP government in Imo State?
Well, on conclusion, number one, if there is no injunction, as in what's his name, Uche Nwosu getting injunction against the High Court judgment, well, the tribunal have no choice than to remove his name from the list. Then, number two, I'm not seeing the tribunal upturning the victory of Emeka Ihedioha. I'm not seeing it because during that period, Emeka Ihedioha actually did a lot of work, and we should also remember that this man did not actually come second in the election. He actually came third, if I remember very well. Uche Nwosu, APC came second in that election. But I don't know why the APC is silent or quiet. If I remember very well, he actually came second.
I don't have those.
Yes, so it depends on what is before the tribunal.
All right, I must say thank you very much for coming on the program.
Thank you too.
Always a pleasure to have you join us. Thanks for staying with us. Plus Politics package is up next, and we'll be showing you comments of Nigerians on the Free Showore Symposium, which held earlier today, and how the police blocked the road and arrested bystander. After that, I'll be giving my take. Do stay with us. The attack on the immediate past Deputy President of the Senate, Ike in Germany, has been condemned in its entirety, and this is good. As a society, we must condemn such unruly behavior wherever it rears its ugly head. It is particularly disconcerting from a group that wishes to be heard and taken seriously. What is even more important now, though, is for our government to go beyond condemning the action and seeking punishment for perpetrators to looking beyond the unseemly behavior of a citizenry and expending efforts not only to identify, but to be seen as taking action to address them. And that's our show tonight. Thank you for watching. I'll be back again tomorrow, same time. Do stay tuned to Plus TV Africa. My name is Felicity Ezewuike.